Harp on Sports at the Bar, podcast, media, audio, and radio network. What do we have in store for you on this edition of the program? A little Richardson reverberation as Florida standout quarterback Anthony Richardson had a good spring game. Also comes to light that he was pulled over in the last week for going 100 plus miles an hour in a 60. How big of a deal is it? Well, in the whole grand scheme of things, when you start saying things like, well, at least he wasn't selling drugs and he didn't murder anybody, setting the bar pretty low, aren't we? So we're going to look at that. And Billy Napier has put himself in a position. Going to be tough. Going to be tough how he handles this. If you are truly different, show us, coach. We're going to get into that coming up here momentarily. What else do we have in store for you? Something that the Red Sox are doing that I think it's great. The branding of baseball. Is this going to work? I don't know if it's going to work for the guys, but it's going to work for the ladies. Sweet Caroline, Boston tradition, right? Neil Diamond song, all that. Seventh inning. Well, guess what? They have that sponsored now. Yes. Is it Twisted Tea? You're going to drink a sweet cherry lime twisted tea when you toast the song. So I've got ideas for other teams in other sports. Ooh, I got some good ones with this. So we're going to look at that. Also, after 42 years, the Carrier Dome name, no more. Carrier Air Conditioning spent $2.75 million and have been the name of the Carrier Dome in Syracuse for 40 years almost. 40 years. It's one of the smartest, cheapest branding things you can get compared to what? Crypto.com spent, what was it in LA? 600 million for LA for the next 20 years for the old Staples Center, Crypto.com arena. Wow. So we're going to look at that. And not that naming right, but just what Carrier Dome did. And we're going to look at the longest naming brand sponsorship stadiums in America. It's going to surprise you a little bit. All right. Remember, Harp on Sports, the bar, at Harp on Twitter, at Harp on Sports, Twitter, at Harp on Sports, Instagram, those platforms, Twitter and Instagram at Harp on Sports. Also, podcast available for you, Spotify, Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, and Harp on Sports, the Facebook page, Harp on Sports, the YouTube channel, and harponsports.com. Okay, Anthony Richardson, Billy Napier. You know, I like Billy Napier. Come out. Look much more professional, much more organized. He's treating it like it's a company almost. It's a brand, and he gets it. It's not just about football. You know, football is how you win and lose, but football, it's almost like a metaphor for him. It really is. He's running it like a business, social media, all the different aspects. Look, you kind of look like a radio station, media station. It's not just about the product on the air, it's giveaways, it's the branding, your exposure, social media, interacting with fans. He gets that. Billy Napier gets that. So it's different. Okay, your star quarterback, who last year, let's face it, he didn't get into trouble. He was just extremely immature. Bum knee and he's dancing, jumping off tables, dancing with a hurt knee. It's just immature. But that stuff's just, I chalk that up to kids being kids or young people being young people. It's like, dude, what are you doing? I think sometimes adults hold 20-year-olds to too much of a ridiculous standard. But when you're investing $60, $70 million in that 22-year-old to be a quarterback in the NFL, that's different. Then you're becoming a pro. Okay. You saw that Johnny Manziel couldn't handle it at the next level. It was too much for him to handle. Jamarcus Russell, sometimes Ryan Leaf, it's too much for people to handle. Well, we're not there yet with Anthony Richardson. But I do know this. You know, we talk about how at 18 you can smoke cigarettes. At 18 you can go to the military, so you should be able to drink. Okay, we're going to consider 18-year-olds adults. Okay, I'm okay with that. You know, if an 18-year-old commits a heinous crime, you want them tried as an adult, not as a kid, right? A 16-year-old commits murder, you want them tried him as an adult. Oh, okay, so a 16-year-old's an adult in that case. See where I'm going with this? So Anthony Richardson's either a kid or he's not. He's not. He's 20 years old. When you get pulled over going in excess of over 105 miles an hour in a 60 at 4 a.m. in the morning, you have terrible judgment. You have terrible, awful, ridiculous judgment. And you're going to be the leader of the team. You're going to be the face of the team. Okay. You get pulled over going over 105 in a 60. This isn't boys being boys. This isn't screwing around. This isn't outside screwing around with a pellet gun. This is not outside, throwing water balloons. It's not screwing around. It's not Jameis Winston. What Anthony Richardson did is so much worse than Jameis Winston stealing crabs. So much worse. Now, the other act of Jameis Winston, that's on its own island. So this whole thing about, guy, he's just being one of the guys. Oh, he's just chalk it up to, 105 miles an hour in a 60 at 4 a.m. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm not one of these ridiculous high standards. I'm not kicking him off the team. No, that's absurd. But if Billy Napier's program is really different, prove it. Sit him out the Utah game. Accountability, right? Well, I know what he'll do. He'll make him run the stadium. If I hear one more person tell me they're going to make an exceptionally well-trained athlete exercise as punishment, think about that. You know what I'm going to make you do? Could you imagine this for a golfer? You know what I'm going to make you do, Mr. Golfer? I'm going to make you go out to the driving range. That's my punishment. Making exceptionally well-trained athletes exercise? You make him do something he doesn't want to do. Make him eat a pound of pudding and then run 5 miles. I'll fix him. Right? If you want to do something like that, make him eat a gigantic spaghetti dinner and then run wind sprints. You want him to get somebody, that's how you get him. You don't make him We're going to make you exercise. You're going to run the stadium. You mean I get to get in better shape? It's just funny to me when coaches punish athletes by making them exercise more. You mean well-trained athletes? I'm going to make you go to the gym and run. Oh, no. Do I have to lift weights, too? Do I have to lift weights? So, yeah, I'm not buying that one. But this is one of those things for Billy Napier. If you're different, we'll see. If you're truly different, we will see, won't we? Because you've heard me say this numerous times. In my business, media and consumption, I quit listening to what people say a long time ago. I watch what you do. I'm never going to watch this team again. Sure you're not. It's right up there with I'm never drinking again or I'm never eating again. Seinfeld, the contest. I'm never doing that again. Oh, sure, George. Sure, George. If you're different, prove it. How? We'll see. Well, you're going to handle it in-house. That's weak sauce. Now, what's Billy Napier going to do with this? No idea. Coaches that handle punishment in-house, to me that's candy ass. That's we handle this in-house. That's showing you the illusion. It's an illusion that's how we handle things. We're a family. We do this in-house. That's a way for the punishment never to get out. If you're serious, you'd be like, look, we're going to handle this. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. Anthony Richardson is going to go work. He's going to do 30 hours of community service for the police department. Okay. Anthony Richards is going to go out on the highway patrol. Anthony Richards is going to go clean up automobile accidents. He's going to drive around at night when there's an automobile accident. He's going to go out there and he's going to clean up the roads. Okay, got my attention now. That's something different. That's something unique. Now, I talked about sitting him out of a game. It doesn't necessarily have to mean keeping him out of a game. If Billy Napier came out and said, you know what we're going to do? Anthony Richardson's going to be spending the next 5 weekends, Saturday nights or Friday nights with the City of Gainesville Police Department, Florida Highway Patrol. Every time there's an accident, he's going to go out there. He's going to help them clean it up. Okay. At least that's something. Talk is cheap, action's everything. Show me that you're different. Don't tell me you're different. Everybody thinks they're different. Everybody thinks they're special. Everybody thinks they're unique. Okay. Prove it. One thing that Billy Napier did do that I liked was, during the spring game, the Gator players, some of them busted out a turnover chain and he got rid. No, we're not doing that. Why is it? It's not just Florida. I'm glad Billy Napier cleared that out. Good for him. Guys, Miami already does that. Why are you doing what they do? Everybody has a turnover chain. We have a turnover chain too. You mean you're copying Miami? That's just blatant theft. It's one thing when you play like a champion today, Notre Dame, and who else has it? Is Oklahoma that has that? Different schools have different traditions that are close to each other. We had it first. No, we had it first. All right, that's all fun, but 50, 60, 70 years ago, we saw the turnover chain happen in the last 5 years. We saw Miami do it. So we have our own turnover chain. You're just stealing. Seriously, it's just stealing. Why don't you as a band come out and dot the I? Think about that. It'd be like a band going, I know what we're going to do at Florida. There's an I in Florida. Somebody's going to dot the I in Florida. No, Ohio State already does it. No, turnover chain, same thing. We're going to dot the I at Miami. We're going to dot the I at Florida State. The dog can come out and take a shit on the field where the I is. Woohoo! You would never do that, would you? You would never, ever, ever do that. Okay, so don't do it. Don't do it. Good for Billy Napier, but this whole thing with the turnover chain, you guys, that lack, I hear this time and time again, I hear somebody do something, I'm like, I know you stole that from somebody. I've heard that line before. You're taking it, you're stealing it, you're janking it. That's theft. People get, when Vanilla Ice, David Bowie, well, it's not the same song. Ice Ice Baby's different than Under Pressure. No, it's not. You think you're stupid? Come on. But at least a decade had passed. This is 4 years. Turnover chain. We're going to do a turnover chain. You come up with your own stuff. This is what makes college football special and unique. Everybody has their own thing. You're just stealing from Miami. You're that not good for Billy Napier. Putting the kibosh on that. Okay. From that to this. And I got a couple other cool things that Florida can do coming up here. Brilliant marketing. The Boston Red Sox, Sweet Caroline, end of the seventh inning tradition. Well, the Boston Red Sox is actually really smart. Twisted Tea, Sweet Cherry Lime. It's the official drink of the song. So you hold one of these drinks while the song's taking place. Is it corny? Yes. Is it a marketing ploy? Of course it is. Is it smart branding? You bet it is. So you're going to have people say Sweet Cherry Lime. They're going to hold up the drink and drink it. They'll sell these things. These seltzers, these coolers, they'll sell these things. It's smart. It's brilliant marketing. It's genius. Sweet Cherry Lime. So I was sitting here thinking, okay, how much money are they going to make on this? A lot. So I've got some ideas for some other teams. I'm on a Florida kick tonight. So let's start off with the Gators. What happens at the end of the third quarter? Well, they do We Are the Boys. And then Tom Petty won't back down. So why not won't back down the hatch? You chug your beer. Won't back down the hatch. Now you could toss in a sponsor if you want to. They sell Bud Light, Budweiser products in the stadium. I think it's $7 for a can of beer. 7 times 24 is what? Nice chunk of change, isn't it? $168 for a case of beer is what they're making for every case of beer that they sell. So, well, after that, let's call it making about $158 after cost. But I do like the concept of sponsoring some of your traditions. Why not? You sponsor the stadiums. You're talking about putting ads in jerseys. Sponsor some of the traditions. I like Won't Back Down the Hatch. Brought to you by Bud Light. Now, you can't do that because we're going to encourage drinking. All right, fine, whatever. Chug your Pepsi then. I like Won't Back Down the Hatch. So that's my thing for Florida. Other things, and again, you have to be pretty clever when it comes out of this. It's like, take me out to the ball game. So what drinks begin with B? Then you start to do this, right? So I think take me out to the ballpark game. Ballpark Franks, the official sponsor of Take Me Out to the Ball Game, Wrigley Field. Seth, I'm what? I'm making money. Marketing 101. Other things that I see. Again, you have to be creative with these, don't you? So Notre Dame 1812th Overture. Da 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 dun 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 to the third quarter. 1812 Overture, old fashioned. You toast with an old fashioned at the end. Now, oh, it's not this cocktail? Then fine. Find me an orange seltzer. There's all sorts of things you can do with this. Original Jack and Coke. Does it always have to be drinks? No, I gave you the ballpark hot dog a minute ago. Take me out to the ballpark. Take me out to the ball game. Ballpark Franks. You know, you start to look around and there's different ones. And, you know, Ohio State dots the I. So think about what you can do. Even if you just want a small sponsorship. That doesn't have to do it, but you want fan participation. This is where you make more money. And everybody's talking about trying to get people to go to the park, trying to get people to go to events, trying to get people out to the ballpark. Well, they do it by being a part of something. Think about what do people like to do at games now? They like to take their cell phones and record themselves doing things. Well, that's why we have filters on phones, and that's why you have logos that you can add in your Snapchat filters, all these things. Well, if you can participate, that's what TikTok is. How do I participate? Video trends on Instagram. That's how these things work. So if games can create these individual experiences, or people can go and record themselves doing things, holding their drink. You just saw the Masters. What did everybody want at the Masters? What's that? Pimento cheese sandwiches? That stuff sounds like that tastes like crap. I hate that. Ugh. I can only imagine how awful that is, but I get it. Oh, this is what we have. But what's Wimbledon? Strawberries and cream? Okay. Well, that's how you create these moments and memories. And in the social media age with phones, you've got to find sponsors. The Sweet Cherry Lime thing is brilliant for Boston. It's brilliant. And other people, other stadiums and other schools have things that they do too. I just gave you a couple. You know, Alabama does Rammer Jammer. Alcohol sales will be cut off because I'm thinking Alabama Slammer. Again, back to the cocktails. Yeah, okay, sure. Alcohol sold these stadiums now. It's going to encourage binge drinking, because it doesn't occur in the parking lot when 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds are pounding a fifth or a pint of Jim Beam before they can go into the game and chasing it with Coke. Yeah, how dare we have anything inside the stadium? But again, there's other things you can do. Sponsoring traditions. Sports should start to do it. The Red Sox just ahead of the curve. So we gave you a couple of them. Won't back down the hatch, Florida. Take me out to the ballpark Frank sponsoring. Take me out to the ball game. You can hold a hot dog while you're. See if you're ballpark Franks, you give out like 50 hot dogs to a whole section while they're singing it. There's marketing, branding, marketing 101. So there we go. In honor of that tradition, I wanted to wrap with this because I think this is pretty cool. That not that it's ending, but it lasted as long as it did. Syracuse, the Carrier Dome, it's been around for 40 plus years. Still going to be around, but now it's what the JMA is the new sponsor of it, whatever that is. But JMA is the new sponsor of the Carrier Dome. Carrier, air conditioning, right? So it made sense. Carrier indoors. You know how much they spent? They spent $2.75 million for the naming rights. Perpetuity. They spent $2.75 million and they've been the naming right holder of the Carrier Dome for over 40 years. Think of the math on that. Not even dollars a day, right? Dollars a day. We're talking dollars a day to be the sponsor of that place. In comparison, the most expensive one is Crypto.com. They took over the Staples Center sponsorship in Los Angeles. Crypto.com Arena, 20 years, $700 million. So Crypto.com just spent $700 million to sponsor the name of the LA Arena, Staples Center, for the next 20 years. Carrier spent $2.75 million over 40 years to do the Carrier Dome. Boy, how times have changed. And then you go through and look at all the stadiums in the world. The majority of them in America are sponsored. There's not too many that aren't. I can only think of a handful that aren't. Soldier Field. Is that the only one in the NFL? I guess Lambeau Field. Or Soldier Field and Lambeau. Arrowhead. It'd be all your older ones. Everybody else is a sponsor, right? Soldier Field, Lambeau, Arrowhead. There's probably one or two that I'm missing. Maybe. So just guys, it's just a profitability thing. It's about making money. So I was looking at this, trying to think of the ones that have been around the longest, the sponsorship names that have been around the longest. It's a new stadium, but Busch Stadium in St. Louis is the one I can think of at the top of my head. I think a Carrier Dome. I know what it is immediately, right? Carrier Dome. Almost to the point that you forget it's a sponsor. It's how long it's been around. You almost forget that it's a sponsor. Carrier Dome. That's what it's called, isn't it? Oh, that's right. Carrier Air Conditioning. That's right. Busch Stadium, St. Louis. It's Busch Stadium. Now, in Indianapolis, my home state, my hometown, the capital of my home state, they used to have a baseball park called Busch Stadium, but that was named after Donnie Bush. So that B-U-S-H as opposed to B-U-S-C-H. But St. Louis Busch Stadium beer, I get it. It's been Busch Stadium for 60 years, 50 years. What are some other ones? Well, Coors Field. Coors Field in Denver. How long's Coors Field been around? 25 years, right? Coors Field, it's beer. Coors beer. One in our state, here in Florida. Since 1998, 25 years. Tropicana Field. It's an orange juice, isn't it? So now the Carrier Dome is gone. Busch Stadium, longest naming rights? Well, longest naming rights in the sense that, yeah, it carried over from the old stadium. But Tropicana Field has been 25 years, and so's Coors Field. Both of those places, 25 years. I can't think of anyone longer. I can't. Some of them don't have names. I get it. Wrigley Field doesn't have a sponsor name attached to it. I get it. Fenway Park doesn't. Yankee Stadium doesn't. Baseball probably has the most, right, that don't. But wow. Tropicana Field, 25 years. It's pretty impressive. Carrier Dome, 40 years. And Busch Stadium, 50, 60, and that'll go in I mean, how long is that going to last? Forever. Forever. As long as they're brewing that stuff. As long as that's being brewed in St. Louis, it's not going anywhere. So, Carrier Dome, no more. It's Busch Stadium, and then Tropicana, right? Busch Stadium, then Coors Field and Tropicana, 2-3, right, in America? Now that the Carrier Dome after 40 years is done? JMA, whatever. I have no idea what that is. But they're going to make more money off of it. Good for them. So there you go. Harp on Sports, the Bar Podcast Media Audio Radio Network. Remember, follow, share, like, subscribe, all of our platforms at Harp on Sports Twitter, at Harp on Sports Instagram. Audio, 3 platforms, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Harp on Sports, the Bar. On all 3 of those platforms, Harp on Sports, the Facebook page, Harp on Sports, the YouTube channel, and of course, harponsports.com. And remember, stay clean, stay focused, stay strong. Happy Easter. Remember, Frankenstein. Have fun with your friends.